Hello everyone, this is me Garima Singh. I hope you all are doing well. So we start with the section second, that is livelihoods, economies and society. So there is section second to the chapter is fourth. That is forest, society and colonialism. Colonialism. So we will study about this. As I said, I discussed chapter. Basically, I'm not discussing the crux. I'm directly jumping into the question and I'm telling you what you're gonna write in it. These are like if I as a person I have to write what I wrote in that question. So these are not like only the selected or sample answers. You can add your points in that too. Like I said in my every video, you can add your points in the answers too. So let's move on to the questions section. Let's discuss what have to write in those questions. So chapter is Forest Society and Colonialism. Here we are. These are the activities you can do by oneself. Question is the first is discuss how the changes in forest management in the colonial period affected the following group of people. So first is mm, shifting cultivators. So we'll discuss about shifting cultivators. So shifting cultivation was a traditional agricultural practice in many parts of Asia, Africa, and South America. I mean, part of the forest are cut and burnt in rotation. That is shifting cultivation. When part of forest are cut, they cut and burnt in rotation. After the first monsoon rain, seeds are sown in the ashes and crops are cultivated. Cultivation is continued for a couple of years. Then forest is allowed to grow in the area for 12 to 18 years. Then they are cut and burnt once more. This rotation is called shifting cultivation. So the colonial government banned shifting cultivation as European foresters felt that this would harm the forest and valuable timber would be lost. The government also found it difficult to calculate taxes and shifting cultivation was practiced. So the ban displaced many shifting cultivators. Many of them had to change their occupation. A few shifting cultivators agitated against the ban. So that is shifting cultivation. Next is nomadic and pastoralist communities. So nomadic and pastoralist community moved about in the mountain and desert and in the plain and plateau of India and Africa. The pastoralist community formed an important part of the population in both the countries during the colonial era. When the colonial government established control over the forest, it affected the pastoralist community in a big way. So the pastoralist community always moved from place to place with their cattle. When forests were destroyed by the government to expand agriculture, the nomads lost grazing field for their cattle. This brought a lot of hardship to the pastoralist community. Then third is firm trading in timber and forest produce. So large expenses of forest were cut for timber and forest produce. The colonial government was worried about this reckless felling of trees. It passed the Indian Forest Act in 1865. This act was amended in the year 1878. Under this amendment, the forests were divided into three categories: reserve, protect, and village forest. Even villagers and local from trading in timber and forest produce could not take anything from the reserved or protected forest, which had the best trees. So this affected the trader immensely. Then next is plantation owner. So vast area of forest were given to European planter at a very cheap rate by the colonial government. Natural forests were cleared to cultivate tea, coffee, and rubber trees. There was a great demand for these commodities in Europe. These plantations were fenced off and others were not allowed inside. Kings, so British officials engaged in shikar. So So that was that. Next is so these plantations fenced off and other were not allowed inside. Then this is king British official engaged in shikars. So forest law banned hunting of deer, partridge and small animals. People who lived near forest were deprived of their livelihood and food because of this ban. Contrary to this ban, hunting of big animals like the tiger, leopard and wolf became a sport for the king and the British. The British felt that by killing dangerous animals they could civilize India. This indiscriminate hunting by British and the king almost made certain species of animal extinct. Next is what are the similarity between colonial management of the forest in Bastar and in Java. So colonial management of the forest in Bastar and Java ran along the same line. Bastar is located in India while Java is an island in Indonesia. So the people of Bastar had great respect for Mother Earth. The people of Bastar lived in harmony within their own limited boundaries. When the colonial government introduced the reservation of forests, the people of Bastar were worried about their future. Most villagers were displaced while a few were allowed to stay and work for free for the forest department. Then the villagers of Bastar were deeply upset by this. The famine in the early 19 sparked a rebellion against forest reservation, but the rebellion was crushed by the British. The only victory of the villagers was that colonial government reduced the reserved forest by half. The plight of the forest villager in Java was very much the same as the people of Bastar. The Dutch were in control of Indonesia. The skilled forest cutters of Java were in great demand. In 18th century, the Dutch slowly began to gain control over the forest in Java. The villagers rose in rebellion, but soon uprising was suppressed. The Dutch enforced forest law as in Bastar. The villagers were restricted from entering the forest, and those who opposed the ban were severely punished. So that was this. The next is between 1880 and 1920, forest cover in the Indian subcontinent declined by 9.7 million hectare from 10.6 to discuss the role of following factors. So first is railways. So we will discuss about what does it play a role in declining of this forest cover. So railway. The expansion of railway became a necessity as trade and transportation increased. Wood was needed as a fuel to run the steam locomotive. Wood was also needed to lay railway line sleeper, which held the tracks together. So forests were destroyed to provide the wood needed for expansion of the railways. Then next is shipbuilding. So the British government needed huge ship for its Royal Navy. Ships were built of strong, durable timber. When the oak forest in England began to disappear, the British attacked the forest resources in India. So vast quantity of timber was exported to England from India for shipbuilding, thus depleting forests in India. Next is agriculture expansion. So, as population increased over the centuries, demand for food also increased. To meet the increased demand for food, more land had to be cultivated. If more land had to be cultivated, forests had to be destroyed and brought under the law. So, forests were cleared to meet agriculture expansion. Commercial farming during the colonial period, the demand for commercial crops like jute, sugar, wheat, and cotton increased. Europe needed more food grain for its growing population and more raw material for its growing industrial production. So forests were destroyed to enable. Then commercial farming. Tea coffee plantation vast area forests were given to European planter at very cheap rate by the colonial government. Then natural forests were cleared to cultivate tea and coffee as there was a great demand for these commodities in Europe. Then next is Adivasi and other peasant users. Only one-sixth of Indian landmass was under cultivation in 1600. Now more than half of the landmass is under cultivation as the population has increased rapidly. As the demand for food went up, peasants extended the boundaries of cultivations, clearing forest and cultivating new land. The Adivasi were hired by the forest department during the colonial period to cut trees, make sleepers for the railway, but Adivasis were not allowed to cut trees to build their own houses. Then next is why are the forests affected by the wars? So in this one you can write the impact of the First and Second World War on forest was tremendous. In India, the Forest Department cut trees freely to meet British war needs. The British needed to strengthen their navy, and timber was needed to build warships. In Java, the Dutch enforced a scorched earth policy. They destroyed sawmills and burned huge piles of giant teak logs so that the Japanese could not get it. During the war, Japanese who invaded Indonesia exploited the forest for their own war needs. They made forest villagers cut down trees. Many villagers used this opportunity to destroy forests and extended cultivation. So when the war was over, Indonesian Forest Service was unable to get the forest land back from the villagers. So we are done with this chapter discussion. Here we discuss about various policies and how it affected how forests are affected by other communities. We discuss about forest society and colonialism, all these. So we are done with this chapter. Next lecture we will discuss about next chapter. That's for today. Thank you.